In the beginning, there was character creator. And the very, very beginning, like when Realm Reborn started, there was only 5 races, which was like the humans, the Elezen, Alpha, Mikota, and Rogadin. And it was like, and it was all good. I think I wasn't there 10 years ago. But then later, I don't know when I did the next expansion, they added the aura, the ones with the horn, the ones I keep playing. But that was only available for the paid people, for the subscription-based people, the one who are already paying per month. So that was locked. If you played free trial, you would get everybody but the aura. But then later, when they expanded the free trial, you could get the aura. But now you couldn't get the Hrothgar, which is, Mikoten number 2, except bigger for the furries. After the aura were made, God made Yoshi made Hrothgar, but it was only male Hrothgar. Then later, after male Hrothgar was made, they made, you will not believe where this is going, they made Viera. Only females. And then the next expansion, they made Viera males. And I was like, hang on, why are Hrothgar so lonely? What's going on with them? And then the latest, just recently announced Fem Hrothgar. I forgot to mention, but every new character species made is after every 2 years, like for every expansion. So it's after 6 years that we get a Fem Hrothgar. 6 years Hrothgar has been waiting to make a family. And finally he has a chance. The way you choose their hairstyle and face is kind of fucked though. Because, like, let's say for humans, or anybody else, you choose the face types 1, 2, 3, 4. You can look old, you can look young, whatever, and then you choose the hairstyle to go with it. It's like, okay, that's cool, that's nice. But then the Hrothgar, oh my god, the Hrothgar hairstyles are locked to your face type.
Huh?
So if you want this hairstyle, you have to have this face type. What if you don't like that face type? Well, too bad, you don't have these other hairstyles. And it's like, anyway, that's neither here nor there. In the end, we're still going to be some pleb. Hiroshi Meteor. All those choices will be Hiroshi Meteor. Actually, sometimes I'll be saying wall to refer to, so wall did this. That's just acronym for Warrior of Light, right? So my wall. So when people say my wall or your wall and stuff, they just mean your player character. But it means your Warrior of Light, my Warrior of Light, our Warrior of Light. Warrior of Light. But specifically when referring to default Warrior of Light, it's usually Hiroshi Meteor. Meteor. In the beginning, mukashi, back when it was Final Fantasy 14, not the Realm Reborn, 14, it was kind of a big and buggy mess because they were a little bit too resting on their laurels, got too big for their breeches, and were not very good at making MMOs. This is, even though they succeeded with Final Fantasy 11 on the PS2, it was the only one on consoles at the time. They have not made any of it since and before, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be okay. We know how to make, console, but because it was PS3 era and stuff, and computers exist, and this is after World of Warcraft time, MMOs that are good existed. It was like they're using their knowledge from way back then. I'm paraphrasing, but basically, they all had a feeling that, will this be okay? But it's kind of too late in production to say anything now. We just pray. We can just hope it does well. Spoiler, it did not do well. And that's when the thing with the Yoshi had to convince them to redo it, refix it, because it's a mainline entry, and it really destroyed fans' image of, mainline entry Final Fantasy games. They have to fix it. It's like, okay, man, you're the only one of us who actually plays MMOs here. You fix it. And so they only gave him a few months, I think like 9, which is insane to build something from the ground up. But he did it. He not only built something from the ground up, but also was still making content for what was already there. And that content was basically very slowly telling the players, hey, we're shutting it down, but making something new. So stick with us. And to those players who were still there, who still could see the vision, of what this could be, the thousands, only in the thousands, which is not good for a MMO, by the way. It should be in the tens of thousands, 100,000s, millions, ideally, but millions will be much later. I think only World of Warcraft was the one that managed to do that. So anyway, so he fixed it up, and then it became Realm Reborn. The basic story is that in the original Final Fantasy XIV, I don't really know the original story, but near the end, the Garlicans were, yeah, it's always the Garlicans. The Garlicans were already spreading. They were really going through Eorzea, or, you know, a place. Eorzea is the continent, by the way, not the name of the earth. Yeah, this is the point when the Garlicans were at the most aggressive. Why they're such a threat, because they're already inching. They already took a whole landmass. I think this was called Albania, Alamigo, which was near to Gridania. And since they've already taken Alamigo, they're already planning on taking Gridania. And if Gridania falls, they're gonna get to Ulda. They're gonna get to Limsa, and that's pretty bad. People from Alamigo were already streaming in to the others and were asking for help and stuff. Like, and the three city states were like, "Oh shit, we gotta team up." So they did. They made front, and they had a big war at this place, Cartoon, kind of like Sengoku, but all against the yeah, but all against the Garleans. But in those final patch days, you were all fighting because the Garleans were so close. It doesn't matter if they just stay from Gridania. They can make small, and they were also attacking Ulda and Limsa, even in small batches. Like their sergeants were going on there on their own. It's like, and it was fun because it was actually in game, like story wise, that makes sense. But in game, you could actually see it because big, scary enemies were spawning right outside the starter cities, which is kind of fucked. Because only level 1, 2, 3, level 5 things should be there. You know, little ladybugs, little squirrels that attack you. It's like, oh no, I have to defend myself from mosquitoes. These big ass mosquitoes. But at the very beginning, it's like squirrels and big ass ladybugs and big ass mushrooms. But the Garlicans were so close, the level 50s were spawning right there and kicking, baby players' asses. So this is that famous thing came in at the older wall, is that higher level players would get their Gobue. Do you know what a Gobue is? Yeah, they would get their Gobue mounts because they were the biggest with the biggest butts, and then form a line to make the go well to protect the little sprout. So if a little sprout came out, they were like, "What the heck is there? There's a wall," and they would try to go out, and the go wall would watch them, and then if something spawned out, they would go and protect them from the bigger, spawns. Like Sergeant, it's like, wow, and this actually made it into the lore of Final Fantasy XIV much later. And then, as if all that was enough, when you log back into the game, you would start off with a nightmare where you're surrounded by dead bodies disappearing all around you. And then when you fall to your knees in despair, Gaius von Belsar would come and kill you. And just as he's about to strike the killing blow, you wake up. And you think, oh, that was unfortunate. That kind of sucked. And it's like, good thing that's not reality. And then you go outside and the moon is falling, and it's like, well, fuck. And everybody was like on the final day, they were all logged in, hanging out. And it's like, oh my god, we're gonna be here for the very last moments of the server. And then you actually saw it fall from the sky, and then it would say, not server disconnect, but they would show you the final trailer, I think, for what happened. It's like, wow, that's really neat. I can't remember if it's the final trailer or how everybody dies, and the trailer for what the next expansion will look like. Oh, that would have been really neat. But basically, you saw everybody die. It's like, oh my god. And that's when they announced Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It's like, wow. We had to kill everybody. Wow. Because in the trailer, It was that battle of Cartano, where all three city-states against the Garlicans, and not only were they fighting a war against the Garlicans, which is their whole deal is like Magitech. There's always Magitech in a Final Fantasy game, no? Magic technology, because the Garlicans are everybody can use magic or has ether. It depends on how much ether you can manage to manipulate, control, training, whatever. But most people can do that, except for the Garlicans, who have very low mastery or can use ether, but they are like stronger or stuff or whatever. I think they're like hardier, and so they kind of live up north because they can stand it better. But it kind of sucks to live there, and so they rely on technology to not be bullied by other states. And now they're going so good that they're bullying the other states. It's like, all right, give us your land because it sucks where we live. So not only are they at war with the Garlicans, now suddenly their second moon is not the main moon. Their second moon is falling. Right. So enter our heroes and our adventurers. There is a group called the Scions of the Seventh Dawn who come from this place called Charlian, which is kind of like a college, city, state, town thing. Yeah, and they're very smart. They're careful the water. They're mostly for studying, and all the PhDs are here and stuff. And originally they were like, we don't really care about war or anything. We're just here to study, so we're gonna move, and away from the war area. And one of the councilmen, I think, is like, I think that's pretty stupid. If we don't involve ourselves in the war, then this place is going to die, and then what's left going to be left to study, or I think, right? And he was like, "Y'all stupid. I'm leaving to go, help our brothers and sisters." So he left, and he brought some of his students with him. Those are now the Scions. By the way, this is an old man. His name is Archon Louisois, because he's an elf, and they tend to be French. Anyway, so Mr. Louisois, at the very end, he could, because everybody was getting their ass kicked, but then Bahamut was really kicking everybody's ass, and he would not stop at that battle. No, he would go and destroy everybody. So, Mr. Louisois, he made the cast some spell, Mega Flare or something. Yeah. And not only did he cast that spell to defeat Bahamut, he also cast another spell that teleported you and your comrades away to safety and stuff. Like in the trailer, they were trying to get to Louisois, but he teleported them away, and then Louisois was eaten by the light and the flames. And then it shows you like in some beautiful grassy knoll, and it's like, whoa, it's as if all of that was a dream. And you go and have your fun little adventures, and it's all a new beginning, something like that. So now we're kind of at the beginning. If you talk to other NPCs about what happened, they'll say, oh, something, the war at Cartano, the Battle of Cartano that happened 5 years ago. Everything is 5 years ago. We were saved by these adventurers and stuff, but I can't, for the life of me, remember their name. I know that we were saved by them, but whenever I try to think of them, all I can think of was a bright light or something. So it kind of comes out that Louisois sent you 5 years into the future, and nobody can really remember what happened at Cartano. So truly a new beginning, because usually in stories, like RPGs, usually you start off as a blank slate. Like in Pokemon, you're a kid going on an adventure. You're like 10 years old. You're going out to make a name for yourself. In Final Fantasy VII, you're an adult, but you kind of have amnesia. You don't really remember your past, and so when people explain things to you, it makes sense because you don't really know everything, right? Especially for world building. And so a lot of games are actually like that, or JRPGs anyway. People explain things to you because you're either the new kid in town, you have amnesia, or you got isekai into this place, that kind of thing, as an excuse to tell you about the world. Otherwise, if you live there, isn't it kind of weird for people to tell you that America is this big, the biggest continent, or something? It's not the biggest continent, but that kind of thing. So you have to have like amnesia, or you have to be in a new place, right? Cause sort of like an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. Uh, which is fine and cool, but it's really cool that they managed to explain this away through lore reasons, not just like, oh yeah, we started new. It's like, yeah, we started new, but there are lore reasons for it. Okay, now on to the real story. I'm sorry for the absolute shit audio that's gonna happen, but it is what it is. Enjoy. Man, it's so hard. I can't do it. It's so boring in the beginning. It's so boring. But I do love it. Even though it's boring, I really love it. So you start off at Limsa and you go to the bartender, who turns out he's actually the Adventurers Guild head. He's like, man, I have to what's the word? I feel it feels like I have to take care of you adventurers more than I have to take care of my regulars. What the hell? But anyway, it's like, what you need, boy? It's like, sign your name here. Anyway, so he's like, alright, you gotta get acquainted with controls, the tutorials. Why don't you talk to that guy over there? He's gonna make sure you know how to interact with objects. And you talk to the guy, and it's like, yeah, go pick up some illegal plants, illegal substances. And then you pick them all up, and then you report it to the cop on duty. I think I forgot to look at that footage. And then you go. I was like, okay, gotta give it to this guy. Now you're going to learn how to interact with objects and to give them to NPCs. Wow, neat. Now you gotta give this NPC something. When you talk to this NPC, he's gonna tell you about the marketplace. The marketplace is neat, but that's not really. I guess if you're on a solo playthrough, it's okay, but it's whatever. The real meat is if you go to the market board, where the real player economy is. That's where the real shit goes on. That's how you can get rich. Um. Anyway, and it's neat because they actually do put the player market board in the markets. So you're like, yeah, alright, this sure is the market. I sure am losing a million gil on a t-shirt. So you finish doing the tutorial stuff, then you go back to, I forgot his name. Oh my god, Baderon. You go back to him, it's like, okay, I'm going to send you to a place that actually does need help, so consider it your first like little adventure. And he sends you to a place called Summerford Farms. It is outside. And he says like, oh, just follow and go to the north gate, and then go north, and you should, I think the north gate or the west gate. Anyway, you just go out one of the Limsa gates, go north, and you should find it. Easy peasy. I was like, yeah, easy peasy. I love that place. But I went to the wrong gate, and I ended up on a different map. I was at Morabi Dry Docks, and it's like, fuck, this is the south. And I went there anyway. It's like, I need it later. I know, anyway. So I walked all the way over there. It's like, okay, I tuned to the Etherite, then I went back to Limsa. It's like, okay, which gate did he say it again? And I went to, Summerford Farms. To the north. I made it this time. Anyway, the deal with Summerford Farms is that they were formerly pirates, but ever since the calamity 5 years ago, where they were battling with the Garlicans, their ship broke, and now they don't have a ship to go pirating with. And because of the calamity with the dragon and the Garlicans fucking everything up, they don't really have a means to make another ship. So the Limsa boss basically made a deal with a lot of pirates say it's like, okay, since we're still in alliance, I'm gonna cut you guys a deal, stop the pirating thing, and why I'll give you farmland so you can farm, so you still have livelihood, you still have work. And the captain was like, "Damn, what a steal! Let's do it." And he got a lot of farmland, and now he's like the what's it called? The not landlord, but you know. Anyway, but although he thinks that's a great deal, a lot of his crew don't actually like being farmers. They want to be pirates. They've been pirates like their whole lives. And like, what the heck? What's a tree? What's sproutling? What the hell is that? And so like the farm is it's okay, but it could be better. They do have actual farmers they hired to teach them, but there's not a lot of them. And not gonna lie, I think the farmers are also scared of the pirates, though. You know, they try to make it work. They make it work. Anyway, so you're there as the help because recently there have been um rumors. No, not rumors. There has been kidnappings and all sorts and monsters and stuff, and they're like, you know, I usually the I need some help to deal with it because I don't want the farmers to be too spooked and worried that they're gonna be kidnapped for no apparent reason, and the former pirates need to still figure out how to learn their job. So that kind of I just kind of leave this to you adventurers. So will you pick it up? It's like yeah, sure, why not? I can be a little investigador, and it's like okay, we heard that the kidnappers may be pirates who are well, I don't know if they know the pirates. The kidnappers are hanging out at this particular place. Could you go check it out? It's like, yeah, sure. Then I go to the place and walk around for 5 minutes, like, where the fuck is this place? And it turns out it was that grotto underground. How the hell was I supposed to see a cave? I've never been in that cave. My entire 4-year career playing Final Fantasy 14. There's a cave under here? What the hell? Little ghosts? It's like, okay, cool. It was under the river. How can there be a cave under the river? This makes no sense. Anyway, cool. It's like, okay, this looks kind of like a little shrine. What? Yeah. This little shrine area. It's like, would you like to open the solo duty? I mean, a solo instance is about to start. It's like, holy shit, baby's first solo instance. And that's where we meet Miss Ishtola. Ishtola Rue? Is that her real name? Anyway, Ishtola. She is a cat girl with white hair, and if you played Final Fantasy Dissidia, she's the one to represent Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 11, the other MMO, is represented by a little Lalafell who looks kind of evil. I don't know who she is, but she's pretty evil, so that tracks. That's Lalafell. And 14 is usually by Ishtola. I don't really understand why. Because I always started in Gridania, and I tried Ul'dah, but the Zeon that you meet depends on where you start. So Gridania, it will be different. These two, Ida and Papalimo, and they're a funny little bunch, very bouquets komi. And in Ul'dah, you'll meet Tancred, who is kind of uh, a what's it called? Womanizing Onisan. So throughout the game, since I never really played Luminsa, Limsa Luminsa start, I don't really get why everybody loves Ishtola or why she's kind of the Final Fantasy 14 girl. And I was like the waifu. I was like, oh, she's okay, a bit nerdy, but a dom, but so it's okay, it's alright. I don't really feel anything. But then I started Limsa thing and she started talking. She's so cute. She's so moe in the beginning. Actually, it was like, whoa, who's this? You're adorable. I don't really know how to explain why she's adorable. She just gives that vibe, like, oh my god, you're the like an anime. Did you hear that? Anyway, her vibes. It's cute. It's like in shonen anime, when the girl first introduces herself, it gives that vibe, and I'm like doki doki. Anyway, so she comes over and sees you, And it's like, dang, I was actually on the trail of the kidnappers, but I guess I was wrong. It's just you. I've seen you around Summerford. What's up? And then suddenly, you two are attacked by a go boy. Dun dun dun. It's like, oh shit, what's happening? It's like and then it shows like I think that this go boy got released from something or something. It looks really agitated. So you guys go fight together to stop it, and then more go boy come. It's like, whoa, somebody really wants us dead, and so you go to, defeat them all, and you did it, yay! And then Ishtola goes to inspect the go boy, and then suddenly you have the headache, and then you, oh wait, no. So when Ishtola goes to inspect it, you're like, oh, it dropped a fancy rock. And so you go to check out the fancy rock. And then you have the headache. It's like, oh my god, the fancy rock is killing me. And suddenly you have a dream again. Just like in the beginning. There is a meteor shower. And the voice telling you to hear, feel, think. You are actually one of my chosen ones, the warriors of light. I think I might be, remembering wrong the sequence of events, but I'm pretty sure this happened. And it's like, I need your help to banish the darkness. Like this shit. It's like, the Mother Crystal wants you. And it shows you others who are blessed with, her light, and they're all going to protect the light of the crystal from the darkness or something. I forgot if Organization 13 shows up again, but anyway, she needs your help, and this crystal rock can help you. Can give you a little bit of power to help with just that. And don't worry, you don't really have to look for these crystal rocks. You'll just end up finding it on your travels. So, good luck, baby girl. And then you wake up, and Ishtola's like, wow, that fight must have been really tough. You fainted right after. He's like, huh, neat rock. And it's like, okay, I found this knife stuck in the Gobo's back. It looks like a pirate knife. So she's like, I found this knife. It kind of clearly belongs to pirates. I've got to go check, investigate this out more. But I think you should deliver this to your boss and tell him what you learned. Say hi to him for me, and then she leaves. It's like, okay, goodbye, my love. Haha. So you go back to Summerford Farms and show bossing. It's like, hey, doesn't this look like a pirate knife? And and the boss speculates that maybe it's a pirate gang trying to get, ex-pirates back into the fold so they can make a bigger gang or whatever. It's like, that's kind of bad, but oh well. Also, I forgot to mention when you were being introduced to bossing, some suspicious character that very much looks like he's going to be important a little bit later on shows up, gives you a look, and walks away, and bossing is like, oh, don't mind him. He's kind of my bad apple, but what can you do? I love my children. And then you do your thing. Anyway. So later when you get up, you show bossing the stuff, and he thinks that, oh yeah, maybe they're thinking of getting old pirates back into the fold. It's like, oh well, I'll keep an eye on them, and I'll tell my crew that this might happen, so be on your guard, be vigilant. Anyway, so he sends you on another errand, which is to round up the slackers off. Like, they should be working, but I'm pretty sure they're just napping under a tree somewhere. Could you go pick them up, tell them, the boss sent you. And if you don't come within 5 minutes, I'm going to, give you a smacking. And it's like, alright, the pirates, I'm kind of scared, but okay. So you go round up these 5. One of them was pretty hard to find, like, they were hanging out near the mouth of a river or something. He's like, bro, what the hell are you doing here? It's so beautiful and scenic. you know. And I fell into the river twice getting up here. Anyway, so you shove them back up there, and then one of the last ones is that guy from earlier, and he's like, "Get off my back! You don't want to boss with me," and neither is he. And then he just walks off. So you're like, oh, "Well, nothing I can do about that. You already got everybody else," and you report to the boss. It's like, "All right, thanks, my boy," and he sends you on another missions, and mostly little errands like this. Like, okay, can you go help this guy? He says he needs help with the tools, and you go ask him, it's like, hey, I heard that you have some trouble with the farm tools. Like, oh yeah, some other pirates stole it from me. They're hoping to, I think they're hoping to smelt it to make it into weapons. And it's like, God, please, can you get it back before they smelt it? Because farming tools are pretty expensive, and we're not getting any more help from limbs after the land stuff. So hard to farm without tools. So beat 'em up for me, will you? I don't know if this is the same as like in Gridania. This is around level 9 or 10, but it's kind of one of your first killing people missions. Yeah, in Gridania, the mission wording was like, go teach them a lesson, or go make an example of this group so that they don't do it again. And you're very clearly killing the Keegern, this kind of bird-like beast tribe. They're sentient, so I'm going to call it a beast tribe. No, they're not a beast tribe, but they're sentient. They can talk, and they were stealing some stuff from the farm. So you have to go make an example of them, right? You understand what that means. I had to go kill them. Baby's first, assassination. I don't know if the Limsa thing with the pirates counts as assassination, because I go get the tools from them. And on the way to get the tools, I beat them up. I don't know if they're dead though. So, you know. But I get the tools back before they're smelted, and I give it back to the guy. And that's all neat and fine. I think there was another mission where you have to help a farmer with some stuff. I think you have to check up on one of the other farmers because they're kind of far away from the main farm. They might need some help or whatever. But I checked up on her and she's okay, and it's all fine. Anyway, so I go back to the bossing, and he says like, "Hey, you know that troublemaker? I sent him to deliver the goods, the oranges, to Limsa, but I haven't heard from him in a long while. And I'm not gonna lie, I know he's taking from the top. I know he's selling a bit, bit to some other beast tribe or whatever. But this time I think he's just taken off with all of it, and that's a little bit inexcusable. So could you go find him for me, please, and give him what for? Just accuse him or whatever." So I go, more walking, my god, there's so much walking. And I go find him, and you have to do /doubt. It's like, "Take that!" And then he's like, "Huh, what? Oh, it's you, you're that goody two-shoots. Listen, you're an adventurer, right? You're probably pretty good with that, axe of yours, right? Well, my buddies, we got, it turns out their thing with the beastmen was a trap, and I don't know, it seemed like they're gonna kill them. That guy managed to run the first thing he saw trouble and left his friends, and now he's like, "I'm just one guy and a coward, so can you go save them, please?" And it's like, "Okay, fine, I'm a good friend, so I'll go save them." So I went in there, guns blazing, and saved his buddies. I guess this counts as a killing quest. I think it's a number level 11. So yeah, and we're just being asked to kill people now. That's neat. And then you save them, and when you save his friends, they say it's like, "Oh, that bastard, he left us. I should really leave him. My God, I can't believe he just did this." Ugh. So you think, oh, they're not gonna be his friends anymore. Anyway, so you go back and tell him that, okay, all your friends are saved. They went back to the farm. It's like, all right. I'm gonna say thank you for that at least. And you know what? Just keep all this crate of oranges. It's not like I need it anyway. Peh. And so he's like, damn. So you get the crate of oranges, and you actually deliver it to Lominsa, and then the guard is like, hey, you're not familiar. Is that the crate of oranges from Summerford? Wow, this is the first time I've actually seen the full crate. Um, Here, since you're not that other guy, I can trust you to give this to the boss, and tell him to fire him already. My God. So you do exchange, you get the money, go back to bossing, and you give him the money, and it's like, damn, he's really gonna get him and his mates killed someday. I'm really gonna give him a beating next time, or whatever. It's like I know I should give him up, but uh, he just reminds me of when I was young, and I don't really want to give up on him just like that. But God, I really should, huh? And I think there's a bunch of other little missions in between. And the next time he talks to you, it's like, okay, it's happened again. That bastard is really missing this time, and it's been a long while. Him and his buddies are gone, and I need you to find out so I can like fire them for reals. Maybe it's like it's one. Actually, I don't remember. I don't remember. So you ask around the farm. Hey, do you know where these guys went? It's like, yeah, I think they went down here and stuff. And so you go down there and you see one of the other buddies, Pande, and it looks like they were running from something, and he's saying something like, that bastard, he betrayed us. He was gonna give us up to something or whatever. And it's like, but you gotta help the others. You gotta help save them. I don't care about that bastard. And so on the way to he's like, you have to go to this, not a grotto, but this like waterfall area thing. And so as you go there, you see more of his buddies. So say, panting and saying, it's like, you gotta help the others. You gotta help the others. And finally, at the very last one, at the entrance to the waterfalls, one last thing, it's like, man, it's like, look, thanks for looking out for us and getting us, but you gotta save him. I know what he did to us, but at the very last second, he did sacrifice. He finally saw the light, and he sacrificed himself so that we could have a chance to escape. So, I know you don't owe us anything, but please save him. And we go in there, and and the guy is being confronted by these pirates who fit all the description of the ones who were kidnapping, people. These blue tattooed faced pirates and stuff. And it turns out that the guy was one of them once upon a time, and he's a deserter. And they don't like deserters. They wanted to kill him, but they told him that if you could bring us, a bunch of other guys to bring into our fold, we'll forgive you. We'll let you live. And so he brought his buddies over and was about to hand them over to them until he realized, like, what? You know what? I don't even know those pirate guys that well, and these are my friends, despite the way I treat them. So you know what? I don't think I'll let you have them. And so they're about to kill him, but then you step in to save his ass, and they're like, oh, who's this, your friend? I guess we'll just use him as another one of our sacrifices. And then just about to kill you, suddenly Organization 13 from behind a boulder comes out and then makes a rock golem to help the pirates kill you. So you go do your thing, you defeat the pirates, you defeat the rock golem, you save this guy, and then at the very end, Ishtola comes and is like, oh dang, seems like a little bit too late for this, but you did pretty well out here on yourself. I think she explains what happened here, that the blue pirates probably wanted more bodies to sacrifice to their gods or whatever, I think. Basically some summoning shit is going down, and she's like, this is a little bit more serious than the kidnappings are more serious than I thought. I'm gonna go investigate more or report this. It's like, I'll take this guy back to the farm. It's like, we'll see you there. It's like, um, then you go back, and the boss says, thanks for saving everybody, and thanks for saving this guy's ass even though it doesn't deserve it. But even that guy realized, like, yeah, I know I've been doing bad and stuff, but I, I have, I will
You gotta
reform.
repent.
Yeah, I will repent. I will go to jail on my own. Honestly, it's like you don't have to forgive me. I'll go to jail. Don't worry about that. And he tells you that originally he was part of the pirates, but a little bit after he joined, they suddenly became cultists or whatever, and he was new. And he was like, "This is kind of weird," so he dipped out of there. And that's why he's a deserter. But he just said, "It's like, yeah, they suddenly became weird, like they were worshiping a god or something," and it's like really, really weird for even for pirates. So I dipped out there, but turns out they remember me, so that was great. Anyway, so he's gonna go and get himself arrested to the Yellow Jackets, which is the name for the Limsa police. And it's like, okay, at least he knows that he did wrong and stuff. I'm gonna ask my buddies not to, kill him or give him the death sentence. And so it's like, alright, uh, basically that's this arc is kind of over, and the boss sends you back. It's like, all right, thanks for all your help at the farm. You you go back to wait. I think there's an important part. Um, I think you found a letter at the place where you had to save that guy, and it was in a different language or something, and they can't read it. It's like, I wonder who can read it. And Boston is like, I think you should give this to Baderon. Oh, I always have a hard time. I always have a hard time figuring out how to pronounce his name. Anyway, give it to Baderon. He probably knows somebody who can read it. Anyway, so eventually you go back to Baderon, and Baderon's like, hey, I heard you did a lot of good. You're starting to make a name for yourself. When people speak, they know you're the guy that can get if if they need something doing, they know you're the guy to go to. It's like, huh? What? You need something doing? That was so funny. And it's like, huh? A letter? Find somebody who can read it? And he checked out the letter. It's like, well, yeah, just the guy for you. I can read it. It's like, oh shit! I don't know why. What is the lore? Anyway, so he does a little backstory. He says, like, okay, so I used to be a pirate. Yeah, I know. How surprising. But back in my pirate days, we used to deal with the Sahagin a lot. You know what Sahagin is? Fish people. And this is their handwriting. Anyway, it's saying something about getting crystals to summon their god. So this is pretty serious, man. I'm gonna send this to the proper authorities. I think this is what happened. I can't remember exactly, but I'm gonna send this to Ishtola. You know, because they deal with that shit. I think like you've seen her around. She hangs out in Limsa, doing her research and stuff, and most of the research pertains to this. So yeah. And now I have forgotten where I am. I think. Okay, I made a mistake. You did not get the letter there. So afterwards you went back to Veteran, you told them all about it. It's like, wow, that's a lot of drama, not gonna lie. But you did good, kid. Everybody, knows your name. You're really making a name for yourself. You're a really good, like, jack of all trades, the handyman. Yeah. Um, and then he says, like, okay, there's another place that needs work if you want. And so you go over to this bridge place. You help them deliver the goods and stuff, or you help, you know, just do little chores and stuff. And then when they're done, they send you off. It's like, oh, okay, I know another guy who needs some help when you go by the shipyard. And so you go over there, and you you see that they're making a new ship. Apparently, it's for Limsa. It's the newest ship they've made since the Calamity, I think. Um, and they want it as a show of like to say that we can sail on. There's still hope for the future, that kind of thing. And so you're helping her out around the place. Like, there's a lot of professional artisans over here and stuff, but there's some of them tools haven't been sent yet. So if you could go check out what's up with the shipment, and you go a little bit further on, and you find out that, yeah, the guy hasn't delivered and stuff. Uh maybe they ran out of tools. Then you go find where they're supposed to go there, and turns out the ship crashed, and the guy who's been searching for the tools this whole time. But they got but it's in the territory of some, another beast tribe. And so you go pick them up, and you give it to the guy, so you go deliver tools back. And that's all well and good, and they start giving you more important stuff, and they're like, hey, we've heard some reports that there's like some pirates near here just kind of watching us. Could you go check it out? We can't go because they obviously know what we look like, but you're an adventurer, you're pretty new. Just go in there as if you're like lost, and say, it's like, oh, hey guys, what's up? What you doing here? And stuff. So you go do that, and they're like, hey, you gotta scram, kid. Who you think we are and stuff? We know you're working for them. We're on to you. And so they leave, and then so you go report back, but then they're like, so it really was pirates. They're up to no good for sure. Can you go, try, uh, ah, try to look for more suspicious peoples around the place? And so you wander around, and you find that, oh yeah, there's a scout over here. That's creepy. What are they looking at? And they're looking like right inside the walls. And so as soon as you go to report that, somebody else says like, they're attacking. The pirates are attacking. What the hell? And so you go help out, and defeat everybody you meet on the way, and you go back to the main shipwright boss. And it looks like he's being confronted by the captain of the pirates, who's saying, it's like, um that what they're making is an abomination. What is this? It's such a disappointment to everyone, and no son of his should be making this kind of shit. And it's like, what, son? And he's like, Pop, Dad, please, we're trying to do something better here. And it's like, no, everything went to shit ever since you stopped. You didn't want to be a pirate, and you just wanted to be some shipwright. And it's like, gasp, there's some family drama here. So you go and defeat the dad for him, and the dad was just like, wow, I must be losing my edge if I got, my ass kicked by some, whippersnapper adventurer and stuff. Um, and that's when they find the letter that was written in Sahagin, and you had Bedaron read it, and he's like, yeah, what's up with this? What are they planning? Looks like they were also working with the Sahagin, with the blue tattooed pirates, and the good, no good. And it seems like those pirates that attacked the shipyard may have been spooked by your presence there, and they may have, done the attack, a bit too early. And then Bedaron speculates that, but if that's the case, then where were the blue tattooed guys? Where shouldn't this have been the thing? Unless this was a decoy, and they're planning on attacking another place. Oh my god! You have to go report this to the Yellow Jackets, the Limsa cops, and tell them Better sent you. Tell them that this is what this letter says, and to go check out probably this place, because I forgot, honestly. Uh, but Beteron says, go check out this place. It's most likely the place they'll attack. And so you go there and you report, and it's like, I don't know why you think it would be this place, but oh, okay. Our men just got back. We're gonna go check it out. And so you all go over there. And yeah, it was being attacked by the Yellow Jackets. They want to take everybody there for their sacrifice. But, luckily you were there and you protect them all and, the cops drive them away. And as you're looking through the area, see if there's any scragglers, strabblers, Organization 13 shows up and is like, "You have been kind of a pain in the ass to my plans. I think I'm going to kill you now, personally." And so he summons a demon, a void scent. That's what demons are called, because they're demons from the void. And is kicking your ass. And then suddenly Ishtola comes up and is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the hell are you dealing with over here?" And she helps you out. And you both killed the Organization 13 member. And then that's when everybody comes back, and it's like, "Oh my god, you were dealing with so much shit. We should have stayed and helped you out, but wow, thanks, man." And so, damn, I just watched this. Right. Anyway, so you managed to thwart everybody like, "Oh my god, we should have been there to help you and stuff," but you did it. That's pretty amazing. You're basically the hero there, and stuff. And so when you go report back to Veteran, they say that it's like, news of your heroism has reached everybody, including the Limsa boss herself, the Admiral. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Admiral Blifiswin. Um, and she is inviting you to 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 the annual party where only the bigwigs of Limsa are allowed. That's pretty neat. You should wear some nice shoes, I think. So he sets you up in some nice kicks, so you can be the man of the hour. Part they're going to celebrate in your honor this time because, like, wow, you really saved the day here. Um, so you go over there, you're partying in your fancy little shoes, which is very funny because the rest of you looks the same. You just have nice fancy shoes, and you're talking to the admiral, and she's beautiful, and everyone's beautiful, and then suddenly you pass out in the middle of her talking about a story that happened 5 years ago during the calamity. Basically, you're having a flashback to the calamity. And okay, so when you were invited to the party, the Ishtola is also there, and they kind of realize like, "Oh, we think you're a warrior of light. Back when you defeated the Gobwas, you got a vision when you picked up that crystal, didn't you? And also you've been doing all these great things. You're blessed by Heidelin, aren't you?" And you're like, I guess so. Cool." And then Merle Wib, that's her name, Admiral Merle Wib, blessed, beautiful, starts to recount how the Warriors of Light, these adventurers, helped, save them during the Battle of Cartano 5 years ago. And then that's when you pass out to get the flashback scene. And it flashbacks to the three bosses of Eorzea, Merlwyb for Limsa, Rauban for Ul'dah, and N- N- oh my god, what is her name? I feel so bad. My boss, my Gridania boss, Khan Esena. Khan Esena for Gridania. And you see them commandeering their troops across the battlefield, but they are getting their asses kicked by the Garleans. Until finally it's like, "Man, this is going nowhere fast. We gotta retreat." But then Kanesena eh, Kanesena senses somebody watching them from afar. And it's an Organization 13 member, ominously chuckling and saying, "It has begun. Soon this planet shall return to its true form." And wow, isn't that kind of creepy? Somebody just watching you get your ass kicked. Anyway, and then you wake up from this dream in the inn, and Baderon is like, "That was a little bit embarrassing. I had to carry your haul your dead body over here. Surprisingly, the bigwigs don't think of this as a faux pas. In fact, they want to see you again. They're asking if you're okay. And so you should go back to Merlwyb's office and talk to her. She has something to say to you. And so you're like, oh my god, she just saw me pass out. That was so embarrassing. But you go back there anyway, groveling at her feet. I'm kidding. Anyway, so you go over to the boss's office and she's like, oh, I'm glad you're okay. Listen, I think I got a job for you. Can you be my personal envoy? The our talk of what happened 5 years ago has renewed a feeling in me that I think that everybody should be. I think we should do our thing. We should honor the dead on this 5th anniversary of the Battle of Cartano, where so many people's lives were lost. So many people's lives were lost. So she tells you to go to Gridania and Ulda and go to the bosses personally and tell them of her plans to hold the. It's about time to hold the anniversary event of, Cartano. So it's like, wow, the personal envoy, that's so cool. She even gave you an airship ticket. This is where you unlock the airship. Finally, this level 15, we can finally see the world, Eorzea. And finally the the salon. Anyway, so I went on a round trip to unlock all that. I forgot this is the part where we first see the Garlicans in the flesh. Ooh, spooky. Nothing else to add. And eventually you do go to Gridania and Ulda and talk to their leaders and they basically tell you their quote unquote memories of what happened 5 years ago, in which they can't really remember much of what happened 5 years ago, which is really strange and very weird. It is not neat. They can't remember the adventurers who helped them or the people who died, and why is that suddenly everything over? What's going on? And even though everything's over, we're still recovering from that event. So anyway, they feel like it would do the people good to have a little celebration, a little rallying, so to speak, and also to rekindle the alliance between the 3 city-states. Now that you've got them all to sign the thing and they've all agreed, it's like, okay, we'll figure out a date of when we'll do this thing, this anniversary event. Now you got to head back and report back to Bedoron, who assigns you another mission. This time, we're finally going to unlock the dungeons in each area of the city-states. Level 15 dungeons. This is how you can level. So basically each area has a dungeon with their own story. I think the very first one is Sastasha, and basically you want to go into the dungeon and figure out, hey, there's some pirates doing some shady shit in this cave here. Can you go deal with that? And so we go deal with that. It's mostly, dealing with the creatures in the cave and finally finding the pirate hideout. And they're like, whoa, what's up with these pirates? What are you hiding here? And then you defeat the whole cave, and then their boss is like, I'm safe now, but now when my boss is here, and then a giant squid comes out and eats him, and so you defeat the giant squid, and basically you've taken care of the pirate problem. It's like, okay, neat. The next one is Tamtara Deepcroft, which is in Gridania, and those are cultists who are trying to summon. I'm not sure what they're trying to summon, but anyway, you go into the temple ruins, defeating, spiders and monsters, the usual fantasy shit, and then you find the cultists and you defeat them, but not before they do manage to summon something. It's a squid again, except this time it has clothes. So you defeat the squid, and the next one, then, and then the last dungeon is Copperbell Mines, where you have to deal with these ancient these ancient golems, I think, that have awoken and are mad about the fact that they were put into slavery. And honestly, they're right. I don't know why we had to silence them like that. That's working for capitalism, baby. Anyway, unfortunately, we bested them in combat because we're evil, and yeah. Right. During this time when you're in between, getting the missions and accepting the missions and stuff, there are other adventurer NPCs you can talk to. And basically it's kind of like a friendly rivalry. It's like, oh, let's see who can finish this dungeon first, haha. But the adventure NPCs you may see alive and well at the end of one dungeon. In the next dungeon, they could be dead and their party dissolved. And it's like, ooh, that's kind of grim. Like in the beginning of Sastasha, you see this party kind of bullying on their healer for some reason, and it's kind of like, oh, what's up with these guys? And then the next time when you're going to get the mission from Gridania and Tamtara, you see those well, the same adventures again, except there's only three of them, and it turns out their tank died and now they're blaming the healer for not healing fast enough, even though it was a tank problem. And it's just like, ooh, this is rough and kind of creepy. Um, and then, but later on, that healer does come up to you and say, it's like, oh, I know you. The tank was the tank was a big fan of you. I really hope to become like you one of these days. I was going to give up adventuring, but I think I'll stick to it. You know, uh, you'll be my inspiration this time. And it's like, oh, okay, that's neat. That's neat. Um, huh. Hopefully it goes well for her. But yeah, there's a lot of little stories like that. One of my favorites is this NPC, elves, a girl and her grandfather. They're both adventurers. The grandfather basically brought his granddaughter along with him. And, they're very cute and sprightly, but it looks like in one of the I think Tantara dungeon, they kind of got their asses kicked, but they're alive and they're okay. And I really hope they'll be okay forever. So after all the dungeons are over, you report to the guy and it says like, "Okay, good job." And then suddenly you hear a commotion outside. Some some merchant, trader, whatever, I'm not sure, is accusing one of the refugees of stealing something from. And you're like, oh, he seems kind of like an asshole. And this girl is like, no, I swear I didn't steal. I swear I didn't steal. I got with my own money. Um. Anyway, so you confront them, and then they start like, okay, go beat this guy up, and then of course you beat them up, and then suddenly you get an echo and see the past. Anyway, so you see the girl's past, and you see somebody talking about the state of affairs over in Ulda with the refugee situation and the Ixali, I think, and et cetera. But in the background, you do see that she went and bought the things on her own, so she was being framed. And then when you wake up back up from your echo, you 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 tell the guy as such that it's like, hey, she totally bought this thing with her own money, and and everybody in the crowd is, corroborates it and says like he's pretty like kind of an asshole, and then he runs away with his tail between his legs because his bodyguards have gotten their ass kicked, and yay, that's all well and good, and then suddenly Ishtola comes from out of nowhere and says like, hey, I've been watching you ever since you got in that hopped on that airship. I've been watching you. And I'm just here to say, I want to recruit you to our group, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I've seen you go on adventures. I think you have what it takes to join us. Also, you have the Echo, so you should probably join us. Because our leader is also someone who has the same ailments as you. It's like, anyway, she tells you to go talk to Momodi. She's like Mother Mion, but for Olda. And tell her it's like you've been invited by the Seance of the Seventh Dawn, and she'll tell you where they live. I have got to finish recording. I saw a clip from the new Atlas game, and I want to play it so bad. Anyway, so you get invited to the Science of the Seventh Dawn, and she tells you it's like, oh, it's all the way over here in this kind of backwater area of Ulda. So you go over there to Horizon. I have to run all the way over there. They do not have an Itherite at their area. My God, this is somewhat important, but they don't really mention it at MSQ. Anyway, so you go over there and you meet best girl, Tataru Taru. I think that's her full name. Miss Tataru. And she's like, excuse me, not just this is a private establishment, not just anybody can enter here. And you tell her it's like, oh, Ishtola sent me. It's like, oh shit, my bad. Ishtola sent you, then you're cool, you're cool. It's like, come on in, we've been expecting you. You're Hiroshi Meteor, is it? It's like, get in there. Anyway, so you go in there. I took a little detour to talk to some other NPCs, some scions. Uh they are not important, but they're important in my heart. Anyway, so we go into the office, and there we meet the scions of the Seventh Dawn. Ida, Papalimo, Ishtola, Thancred, Urianger, and Boss Minfilia. Um, Minfilia's really saying, have you ever experienced a loss of consciousness, out of body experience, a disembodied voice telling you to hear, feel, think? Well, then have we got the group for you. Join us, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and we could possibly solve your problems. Or you could solve ours. I wonder if they have insurance. So anyway, Minfilia tells you about the echo, and that some people are blessed with its power. It manifests in different ways. Some can see the future, some can see the past. It seems like you're kind of one of the people who can see the past. Sometimes it's kind of random. Others can like feel something is going to happen before it happens. It manifests in different ways, etc., etc. Scions are made up of a group of people who have the echo, and other groups of people who have come from Charlian or something. I think Minfilia is currently the only one of the main scions with the power of the echo. Though I know there are some within the ranks who have the power of the echo that's just much weaker. Yours seems to be stronger, like Minfilia's, though. The other scions like Voyager, Thancred, Ida Papalimo, and Ishtola are all from Charlie and are basically PhD students who all graduated under Luiswa, the grandpa who died in the trailer earlier. Anyway, so their mission here is to understand the primal threat and hopefully to stop it. Anyway, so Scions ask you to join them, and what can you say but yes, I too would like to have some insurance. I would like to attain the benefits that being a Scion offers me, like getting retainers and a chocobo. And okay, you don't get a chocobo from being a Scion, but still. Anyway, so as soon as you join them, they send you on your first mission. Go to Camp Drybone and check out the mysterious goings-ons over there. They got a friend over there. And basically there have been some more mysterious disappearings of people. I don't know if kidnappings or whatever, but disappearances. And so you go and investigate these. Apparently a caravan that should have arrived by now hasn't really, come. So could you go check out the route that I was supposed to be on? And so you go over there. It turns out that the caravan is tipped over, a resident's dead, and Amalja it wasn't Ixali earlier, it was the Amalja for Ulda, have basically laid in wait for an ambush. You defeat them, you pick up the bodies, you show them bodies, and it's like, oh my god. So it was the Malja who are behind uh the recent goings on. So but to what end? To what purpose? So you go check out the nearby church so you could help, properly bury the bodies. And there's a strange figure here. Marquise, and he'll be important later, I guess. He seems to be uh one of the staff members of the church who has amnesia. He's also being taken care of by the church. Um anyway, so you bury the bodies, you ask around like what's going on, and the rumors about the wait, are there rumors? Anyways, you ask around, not much details, I think. Anyway, um lots of things happen. You question some people, you wear a beggar's outfit, you question some more people, and eventually you get to this watering hole where you find out that the merchant guy from earlier, is somewhat behind all this, or at least involved, and he's been luring in people. Uh, he's been luring in people with chances of a better future, of hope and religion. And when we catch him and ask him what the hell he's doing, it turns out that he's working, sort of working for the Imaji. He struck a deal with them in exchange for, not attacking his home. He gives them information on people, and also gives them other people. Uh we don't know what the Amalja are doing with these people, but yeah. So we interrogate him about his plans and find out there's going to be an Amalja meetup, something. So we set up a trap. We set up a trap so that when they come, we'll be there to catch them in the act, and then hopefully strike at them while their leader's there. And so we go there, we lie in wait, and when the Amalja come, we're like, "Ah, we got you." But turns out it was a trap for the trap. That guy tricked us. And now there's more Amalja than can count, and we've been completely surrounded, and they managed to knock us out. And next time we wake up, we're all in a cave, and it looks like the Amalja are going to use us for some ritual or whatever. And this is kind of cute. I really like it because it's an MMO and always live, you can't save. Um but sometimes you do gotta go somewhere else, and you're like, I'm not ready to go on with the main story for now. And there's a little part in the cave where you can talk to someone and say, it's like, hey, there's a little river here, and if you go down there and swim, you can make it outside to ask people for help. But we can only do this one at a time, otherwise they'll be onto us. You go first and call people for help. It's like, oh, that's neat, and that's how you can get in and out of this cave, and why everybody doesn't just escape. Anyway, so we continue MSQ. The Amalja grab all of us, and then start summoning the primal Ifrit. And when Ifrit comes, he starts. How do you say it? He he does some magic thing and starts tempering all the people there, which is to say, brainwashing everybody so that they will all become, Ifrit's followers, so they all will start to worship him. But for some reason, it doesn't work on you. And Ifrit's like, what the hell? What's wrong with this guy? And he does it again, I think. And it's like, gasp. Could it be you're already tempered by another? I think he clocked it as like, you're tempered by Heidelin. It's like, that bitch. It's like, oh well, I guess I'll just have to kill you. And then now your first primal battle will happen, and then you go, you know, beat up Ifrit with the power of the echo. No, I don't think the power of the echo helped you here, but you do manage to defeat Ifrit, and that's very cool. Um, oh my god, I'm getting tired. Uh, I want to play another game. I want to play Metaphor Fantasia. I want to see his draw so bad. He's so cute. His English voice is so cute. Ah. Anyway, so you defeat Ifrit, and it turns out some strange people were watching you from up top. Looks like it's the the Garlicans, Nero, and oh my god, I forgot her name, the simp. And he's watching. He's like, impressive, but probably not as impressive as Ultima. I think I don't know. I don't know what he said. And Tancred comes and is like, "Damn! If only I was a little bit faster, I could have helped you. That was dangerous, man. That was amazing. Okay, let's go home." And then when you go home, it's like, "Wow, you actually did. You defeated a primal all by yourself. Damn, that's incredible." And you know that is great and all, but Tancred is kind of beating himself up about the fact that he couldn't uh, have gotten there faster and helped you out. And you're like, no, it's okay, man. Totally cool. We defeat it on our own. We don't need. It's cool that you couldn't come. We get it. And then he pulls you aside and he's like, no, actually, it's not okay because you know the people you came with, those other people, um, tempering is uncurable. We're gonna have to kill them. It's like, oh, I I see. And that's why he's really bummed because all those lives could have been spared had he managed to come earlier. It's like, oh, okay. But unfortunately, all this has to be kept secret because the public doesn't know that tempering is a thing or something and that it's uncurable, etc. Anyway, uh I know people give AR a lot of flack for being pretty boring and stuff, but I do like that it gets pretty dark. Um, not sometimes, but if you look at it, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dour. Damn. Anyway, right. Anyway, so after the thing happens, I mean, Philly and Tancred explain to you that how primals work. And how it happens is that they are created with a surplus of aether and prayer, or belief. So usually they're born by beast tribes who are not to say more religious or something, but they will all pray for and to their god, and to make their god real, they need aether to create their form. And so they need uh they need a lot of aether. And how that comes is that they'll attack like caravans carrying aether crystals, and so they'll have a lot of aether crystals, and then with the crystals and prayer they'll, you know, the primal will form. But it needs more aether just to say sustain itself. And so, like, sure, the crystals are okay, but it's not enough. And but you can still get more aether from the land and apparently other people. And so they also want more sacrifices so that they'll have more people to pray for them and lend them power and shape. I think the aether is for their form, and the prayer is for their power. And yeah, that's why there's been a lot of kidnappings and also stealing of crystals. And that's how you know that, oh shit, somebody's planning to summon a primal. And for some reason, people with the echo are immune to the tempering thing, and that's why they're very important to the Seance to have even just a few of them, even if it's like weak as shit. If you have it, then you are immune to primal influence. So a little bit after this, um, Minfili tells you it's like, so you're pretty, hot shit now that you've destroyed a primal on your own, and now all the grand companies, or basically the military of each city state, would like to court you, have your hand in marriage, so to speak, because like you're a force to reckon with now. Anyway, so a representative from each city has come here to ask for your hand, and they're kind of being kind of annoying. So it would be great if you could choose soon. Haha. uh, but if you're, on the fence about which suitor you want, well, remember that thing, the anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of the Battle of Cartano. Well, that's going on soon. Maybe you should go to each leader's speech and then listen to what they have to say, and then maybe you can be convinced, like, I think I'll join this, this city or that city and stuff. Follow your heart. And when you do, please come back to answer your suitors because, oh my god, I gotta get them out of my office. Anyway, and so we go. So we go to the little rallies of each city state, or basically the leaders, Kanisena, Rauban, and Merwib will talk about, you know, the the, the things that trouble their their the troubles that the things that trouble their state, and then how they became, you know, great in the first place. Like Gridania is a merging of two peoples, like the Elizan and the Hyur, uh, and their connection with nature and the elementals, and how they made peace with each other. Limsa is about how the pirates were all enemies, but they all banded together against a common enemy, the Garleans, and how they need that, that alliance right now to make themselves whole once more. And Ulda is about how they're so great and prosperous, and that they can once again become the jewel of Eorzea. It's like, woo, yay! And in all this, you'll meet Alphinaud and Alize, the two the two white-haired Elizan twins we saw in the very beginning, all the way back there when they were napping on the caravan or the ship. It's mostly Alphinaud that talks to you. Alize doesn't talk at all. She looks pretty emo and taciturn. But Alphinaud will point out their flag and what it means, and what the underlying problems are, like especially through all the bravado the leaders are showing. He'll point out that, there are faults and flaws, like how Gridania has, I guess, a racism problem, and Limsa has infighting, and Ulda is capitalism and stuff. And he wonders which company you will choose in the end. Later on, we get a little movie with them where Alize actually talks, and you see that they're actually on this journey across Eorzea to see the place that their grandfather Louisois sacrificed his life for. And Alize is kind of mad and is having none of it because it's also political and lies. And how dare they just gloss over the fact that, their grandfather sacrificed himself for all of you. You don't even acknowledge it. Whatever happened to them? How could you just forget what happened 5 years ago? And Alfina was like, well, they can't mention it. That they chose not to mention the fact that they don't remember what happened 5 years ago because it won't help them, move on from what happened because Eorzea is still hurting from what the Calamity did, which is the Garleans, taking over so much territory, and then Bahamut destroying basically a lot of the terrain and stuff. Um, like, uh, there's an area, Coerthas, who back in Final Fantasy 14 1.0, the original, was a green, beautiful, lush fields. And then after the calamity, it's now a frozen wasteland. I mean, there's still people living in it, but it's not the same as 5 years ago. The calamity completely changed the landscape. And so, and such is true of all the other places. That's how badly the calamity has struck them. And so, like, often not saying it does no good to remember what happened 5 years ago. The only way we can go is forward. Alize gets angry at her brother and announces that there has to be another way to save this world that their grandfather left. There has to be, not this political bullshit. And she wants to take another path. And Alphinaud says, like, though our paths may differ, our destination is the same. I dare say we will meet eye to eye soon. And Alize is like, I hope so. And then leaves him. And Alphazal just starts talking like the cryptid he is. I love him. Anyway, so we go back to our little playthrough. We choose our grand company. I chose Limsa just because it's convenient. And now we can get our little chocobo. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, I called it Meteor. What we were doing? Right. Before we're formally, in inducted, induced, or formally put into our grand company, where they're like, oh shit, an emergency. We have to go save these guys' asses before we can indict. Before you can join, could you help us out and save these guys' asses? They're from the Garland Ironworks crew, and they're pretty important for technology. So you run over there, and basically you have to save Biggs and Wedge from the Garleans. They're flying an airship when they got shot down by the Garleans, and now we have to save them. At first, Biggs is like, "Who are you? Maybe you're a Garlean." It's like, "No, you're part of them." And you have to fight off the Garlean before you take back the airship. And apparently Wedge is still in the airship. Anyway, so we saved them, and that's great. Turns out they are Garlean defectors and have taken their technology to share it with Eorzea because they do not want war to be happening. So they will help Eorzea fight against Garleans with their technology. After you choose your grand company and after you get your chocobo and save the Ironworks guys, you go back to the Waking Sands. That's the name of the office, by the way. And then Philly's like, "Oh, hey, that's great. By the way, I have to introduce you to some guys." And it's like, "Please come in." And it turns out it's the Ironworks people. And they're like, "Oh my god, it's you guys, no way." It's like, "Whoa, wait, you're the one who saved them? Nice, thank you. They're very, important to us in our operations here." They just say, it's like, "Oh, if only our leader were here, though. We haven't seen him since the calamity." It's like, "Oh, that's so sad. It's unfortunate." Anyways, so after all this, Matthias is like, "Okay, can we ask you a favor?" It's like, sure. I do work for you though, so, whatever. Anyway, so it's like, remember the primals? Well, actually, another primal has been summoned. It's like, oh shit. It's like, but it doesn't seem to be any trouble right now. It's like, huh? It's Ramu, the electricity old man. And it seems like it was the sylphs who summoned them, and the sylphs are these green leafy creatures, little green fairies. They look like cabbages that fly. They're from Gridania, and they're pretty amenable to talking, but they are kind of weird, so you got to be diplomatic about it. And they did just summon a primal, so maybe don't be so, hey, what you doing all like this, like, it's a bit. So it's like, can we go, talk to them, check out what's up? It's like, why'd you summon a primal? What's going on over there? I thought we were buddies, friends, allies. And it's like, okay. So we go on a little trip and ask around. It's like, hey, what are um what are the sylphs like? You know, what's the custom around them, so that we don't accidentally offend them. And we find out that they like, to dance as a greeting, and that you should give them this thing. They really like eating, I forgot what was, honey or something. It was something I forgot. I'm sorry. It was a certain plant. They love it as a snack and whatever. Anyway, so learn all those things, and then when we go to the plants, they're like, what you want? And you do a little dance as a greeting. It's like, oh my god, a dancing one. I like you. What's going on? You give them the plants, like, oh my god, you not only danced, but you also gave me my favorite food. What's up? What you need, buddy? No, then after you give all that, Ida and Papa Limo came over and say, it's like, hey, what's up? We want to talk to you about, the primal stuff. It's like, gasp! You two are from the government. You were trying to trick me. You tried to bribe me. I won't talk to you anymore. And then she leaves. It's like, huh? What the heck? She never treated us like that before. What's going on? Maybe we should talk to the other plant stuff. And so you do, and eventually you talk to one that's like, hey, could you help me out? One of my buddies. Wait, am I getting things wrong? Um, you know, got in with some. One of my buddies started to get really um angry and emo, and it's like, okay, everybody just leave me alone. God, I'm running away and stuff. But it's pretty dangerous out there in Gridania. So could you look out for them? It's like, oh yeah, sure, you are just a cabbage after all. So we go over there and we find them, and they suddenly become surrounded by. Actually, I don't remember. Okay, so the friend runs even further into the woods, and when you find them, they get surrounded by purple cabbages. And it's like, huh, what's going on? And the little and the friend is always like, no, no, get away, what is this? And so we have to defeat the purple ones, and we all go back to the original, cabbage. And it's like, oh my god, thank you so much for helping my friend. You know what? I will help you. I'll tell you stuff. Anyway, like, okay, I I will help you now. But then you ask, like, okay, can I talk to your leader, your boss? And we're like, I'm sorry, I told you I could help you, but turns out I can't help you. In fact, the reason I told you to go away is because our boss has been missing this whole time. They've been missing for a while now. We don't know where they are. It's like, you have to help us. You will help us, right? And it's like, oh my god, the leader of the Sylphs is missing? Oh shit, this is pretty big. And so you go back to Gridania and report that. It's like, anyway, so you report, it's like, oh my god, the leader is missing. And you're like, oh shit. Okay, we're gonna send you this guy. You gotta ask him for help. And this guy turns out to be another bartender in the middle of the Gridanian woods called Buscaron. And he's got people and stuff, but it will take a while to find him. So while you're there, you do some little odd jobs while waiting for information to come in. This and that, um, like setting some of his rowdy regulars straight, or helping send a bottle of. Oh wait. Or helping him send off something that his friend left behind when he left to go strike out on his own. These are just kind of funny little side quests, and don't with MSQ, but it's cute. I like how it shows off their personalities and stuff. Um, so what? And one of the missions is finding out that one of his regulars, a wood whaler, seems to or may seem to be a traitor and is giving out information to the Garleans. And so you go confront him. Laurentius, my love. And he's like, yeah, well, sick 'em boys. And he goes to fight you. But then, Buscaron's regulars are it's like, oh, hey, Buscaron sent us. It's like, is that a traitor? It's like, we're gonna help you out and, kick this guy's ass. It's like, no, how could you all, unite like this? None of you are the same. Why are you all, getting together? Just because you're, here to help out the bartender? God damn it. And so we kick his ass. And he somewhat repents for being a traitor, but he's just not paid enough, man. It's like he always wanted to be a wood whaler, but my god, it's a tough life. Anyway, that sucks. It all sucks generally. But after all that, we finally have some info about where the leader is, and that has been seen around the thousand maws of Totorak. The thousand maws of Totorak. The dungeon that they find the little cabbage in. So it turns out that the cabbage leader was watching uh a Guardian or was an Organization 13 member. Anyway, a suspicious person and was closely watching them. But then they saw them and so they had to run for their lives because they were about to be caught. And so the cabbage was like, okay, I gotta hide. And so flew into the dungeon, Thousand Malls of Totorak. Which is important because back in the day, so Final Fantasy 14, Realm Reborn, has actually had quite a bit of revisions from early game because it like before it used to be even tougher. When I started back in 20 I'm pretty sure I tried the very first time in 2018 back in Stormblood area. Yeah. There was this part, a level 10 mission that kicked my ass again and again and again, and I kind of just quit the game right right then and there. It was like, oh, this is so hard. What the hell? And then later, 4 years later, I think it was in the Shadowbringers expansion. Anyway, but by the time I came back in what 2019, they had revised that specific mission a little bit, so it was a little bit easier. There were a little bit less enemies. I only had to collect like 3 eggs instead of 10. I didn't get my ass kicked, and that was great. That was great. But and then they did another revision. They made it even easier. And this dungeon in particular used to look. Its mechanics were, how do I say, as somebody who has no sense of direction, this dungeon was hell. And because there's branching pathways, and in the branch pathways you have to get something, and then you have to come back to the main pathway. And so because the main pathway is gated unless you have a certain item, and sometimes I would get lost running around for that certain item, and then everybody was lost, and it was just hell. Anyway, and then they changed it so that it's more linear. You didn't need a certain item, and there was no more branching pathways. So there's only one way to go, and that's forward. And that was great. That was neat. But anyway, that's the reason why I think say thousand miles of Totter. Anyway, so the little cabbage went in there for safety, but it's still a dungeon. It's pretty dangerous. There's a lot of spiders, a lot of spitting flowers in there, lot of poison. So you go in there to save the cabbage, and then uh, turns out the cabbage did get caught by a gigantic spider web and was about to be eaten. And so just as you're about to save them, suddenly an Organization 13 member shows up and starts talking all ominous and shit. And it's like, huh? What's going on? Who are you? I don't understand what you're saying, but you seem pretty bad. I think I'm gonna kick your ass. And so you do kick his ass, but not for long anyway. Um, and then the the cabbage pops out and is like, "Oh my god, you saved me! Thank you." I was running away from the Garleans, I think. Anyway, so when you save the cabbage leader, you get an echo showing what happened. Basically, they were watching the Garleans, and they were caught spying on them, so they were chased inside the Thousand Maws, and then was trapped by the Organization 13 member. Anyway, so we save them, and it's like, okay, you want to know about Ramu? Sure, let's go outside though. This place is pretty creepy. And so when you're outside, it tells you about the deal with Ramu and why we're summoned. And it's like, no, we totally don't want to break off our alliance here, but a part of our group, our clan, our tribe was like, our place needs to be protected better. We need, our god here to protect us because, we can't just rely on the Gridanians. They're not that reliable. And the Garlicans are literally right outside our door. They're literally walking all over stuff. We need Ramu. And like, no, we shouldn't do that. But this group, summoned him anyway. But the leader assures us that it's all cool though, because unlike the other primals, they don't want any more followers or Aether. They'll just stay in their little corner. As long as you don't go to their ancestral home, then it's all good. Just don't bug them and we're fine. We can still be allies. But those guys, probably don't talk to them. Sorry about that. They just want to protect what's ours, what the little, place we have left. And now that's all well and good, and everything is cleared up. You go back to Minfilia and report all this. But you also mentioned the Organization 13 member. And we're like, I think we should probably look into that. What are they talking about? All this darkness and light and stuff with the crystal. That seems pretty serious. And so I think we should, investigate about the mysterious masked man. And so there have been reports of something to that effect somewhere back in Ulda and Drybone. So you go and investigate. And that's where we are now. And now I can finally put this part 1 to rest so that I can play Final Fantasy 16. Thank you for listening. My god. I finally got to the part where I stopped and when the date when Final Fantasy 16 came out. And now I have no more footage. I'm free! I'm free! Part 1 is over. We haven't even gotten to the part where you're introduced to Sid or Garuda, or we haven't even seen the love of my life. I haven't even finished AR. It's just, this is where my footage ends. So part 1 of A Realm Reborn is over. This is already almost 2 hours long. And we haven't even gone anywhere significant. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time after Final Fantasy 16. Bye bye.